The text message arrived at Magnus Carlsen's phone at exactly midnight. 4 simple words that would change everything. They know about Prague. Magnus stared at the screen, his hands trembling as memories of that secret meeting flooded back. 3 weeks ago, in a hidden basement beneath Prague's oldest chess club, he had discovered something that could destroy the entire competitive chess world. And now, someone knew he had been there. You see, what Magnus had witnessed in that basement wasn't just another corruption scandal. It was evidence of an underground network that had been manipulating chess tournaments for over a decade, using methods so sophisticated that even the world's best players had no idea they were being controlled. Tonight, that network was coming. For him. But Magnus Carlsen didn't become world champion by running from fights. He became champion by finishing them. The story began 3 weeks earlier when Magnus received a cryptic invitation from someone calling themselves the Prague Insider. The message contained tournament data that shouldn't have existed, detailed analysis of games from closed events, private correspondence between tournament directors, and most disturbing of all, betting patterns that suggested someone had been predicting chess results with impossible accuracy. Magnus knew he should have reported the message to chess authorities. But the data was too compelling, too precise to ignore. Someone was offering him proof of the systematic manipulation he had suspected for years. The meeting location was bizarre, a basement chess club that officially didn't exist, accessible only through a hidden entrance behind Prague's central market. When Magnus arrived at the coordinates, he found himself in an underground room filled with vintage chess sets and walls covered with photographs spanning decades of tournament history. But what caught his attention immediately was the advanced computer equipment humming quietly in the corner, displaying real-time data from chess, tournaments happening around the world. "Mr. Carlsen," a voice emerged from the shadows. "Thank you for coming." The man who stepped forward was approximately 50 years old, with the bearing of someone who had spent his life around chess, but the nervous energy of someone carrying dangerous secrets. He introduced himself as Viktor Petrov, former tournament director and current whistleblower. "For 15 years, I've been documenting what you're about to see," Viktor began, pulling up files on the computer system. A network of tournament organizers, sponsors, and certain players who have been fixing results, manipulating pairings, and controlling outcomes on a scale that would shock the chess world. The evidence Viktor showed Magnus was overwhelming. Bank transfers between tournament sponsors and specific players, email chains discussing predetermined results, video footage of secret meetings where tournament brackets were decided weeks before events began. Most damning of all, detailed records showing how betting markets had been manipulated to generate millions in illegal profits. But that's not even the worst part, Viktor continued, his voice dropping to a whisper. Some of the biggest names in chess have been unknowing participants. Players who thought they were just receiving legitimate sponsorship deals were actually being paid to perform at specific levels in certain tournaments. Magnus studied the data, his world champion mind processing the implications. How widespread is this? 47 major tournaments over the past decade have had predetermined outcomes, Viktor replied grimly, including 3 world championship matches where the results were influenced through strategic preparation sharing and psychological manipulation. The revelation hit Magnus like a physical blow. Some of his own championship victories might have been tainted by external manipulation. Opponents might have been secretly instructed to play suboptimally, or given false preparation information designed to weaken their performance. "Why are you showing me this?" Magnus asked. Viktor's expression became even more serious. "Because tomorrow, they're planning to implement the next phase of their operation. A new tournament system where every major chess event will be controlled by their network. Prize money, ratings, sponsorship opportunities. Everything will be determined by whoever pays the highest fees to their organization." The underground network had grown from simple match fixing into a comprehensive control system that would turned professional chess into a sophisticated puppet show. Players would compete believing they were participating in legitimate tournaments, while results were actually determined by financial arrangements made behind closed doors. Victor handed Magnus an encrypted flash drive containing all the evidence. "But there's something else you need to know. They've been monitoring your activities for months. Your investigation into tournament irregularities, your questions about certain players' sudden performance improvements, it's all been reported. Back to the network." Magnus felt a chill as he realized how carefully he had been watched. "Who's been reporting on me?" "Someone close to you," Victor replied. "Someone with access to your training sessions, your travel plans, and your private conversations about chess politics." The betrayal was personal and professional. Not only had Magnus's investigation been compromised, but someone in his inner circle had been working against him all along. Victor explained that the network recruited assets by offering lucrative opportunities to chess personalities who could monitor and influence the chess community from within. The person reporting on you doesn't necessarily know the full scope of what they're involved in, Victor warned. They might think they're just providing market research or tournament feedback, but their information has been used to stay ahead of anyone who might threaten the network's operations. As their meeting concluded, Victor delivered a final warning that made Magnus's blood run cold. "They know you're here tonight. I received word an hour ago that your presence in Prague has been detected. You have maybe 12 hours before they move to neutralize you." Magnus left the basement with his understanding of professional chess completely transformed. The sport he had dedicated his life to was controlled by a criminal network that had been manipulating results and exploiting players for over a decade. Worse, someone he trusted had been monitoring his every move. On the train back to Oslo, Magnus began planning his counterattack. He knew that exposing the network publicly would require more than just evidence. It would require strategic timing and protection from retaliation. But Magnus had one advantage the network might not have anticipated. His position as world champion gave him a platform that would be difficult to silence or discredit. The next morning, Magnus received a phone call that confirmed his worst fears. The Prague insider, Viktor Petrov, had been found dead in his apartment. Official reports claimed natural causes, but Magnus knew better. The underground network had eliminated their leak and was now coming for him. But instead of retreating, Magnus made a decision that would define his legacy. He would use his World Championship platform to expose the entire conspiracy, regardless of the personal cost. The evidence on the encrypted flash drive was comprehensive enough to destroy the network, but only if Magnus could present it before they silenced him permanently. That afternoon, Magnus called an unexpected press conference. With chess journalists from around the world watching, he announced that he had uncovered evidence of systematic corruption that reached into the highest levels of tournament organization. He revealed the existence of the underground network, their methods for fixing results, and their plans for complete control over professional chess. The chess world erupted in disbelief and outrage. Tournament organizers denied the allegations. Certain players claimed innocence, but the evidence Magnus presented was too detailed and comprehensive to dismiss. Bank records, communication logs, and video footage painted a picture of corruption that shocked even the most cynical observers. Within 48 hours, chess authorities launched investigations into tournament integrity. Several prominent organizers were arrested. Multiple players admitted to receiving payments for predetermined results. The underground network that had controlled chess for over a decade began crumbling as their secrets were exposed. But Magnus's victory came at a personal cost. The investigation revealed that the person who had been reporting on him was someone he had considered a close friend. The betrayal cut deeply, but Magnus realized that exposing the truth was more important than preserving relationships built on deception. As the dust settled, Magnus reflected on how close the chess world had come to complete corruption. If he hadn't received that Prague invitation, if he hadn't been willing to risk everything for the truth, Professional chess might have been lost forever to criminal manipulation. The underground network was destroyed, but Magnus knew that vigilance would be required to prevent similar corruption from emerging in the future. The sport he loved had been saved, but only through the courage to confront uncomfortable truths about people and institutions he had trusted.